Vodafone presents the pre-match.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back again to ESL One Katowice, which is the city that you're seeing right in front of you. Some roses on a building, some bricks being built in them up, and snow all over the ground. And we are here in the ESL studios in Cologne, Germany, giving you the coverage of more stuff from the group stage, Lyrical, Lacoste, and Basekip all along the way. And we are going to also be taking a look at our second series of the day, which I think is going to be less contentious than the first series, believe it or not, considering how crazy that first one went. But it's going to be FTD versus Secret. And we're all expecting that, the favorites here, FTD, are going to be able to pull it out. That's sarcasm. It's probably Secret that's going to win. But FTD did just beat Forward.
They showed that they can actually play a real Dota, even though it was not the greatest Dota from both of these teams. Of course, everyone is going to expect that Secret is going to stomp a team like FTD. But if you look at the way that they played during qualifiers, they managed to take 2 games from eHome, and eHome is a force to be reckoned with. Like this team, maybe I just like eHome as a brand, as the players, the way they play Dota, but it's a big thing.
Yeah. And I guess that also there's the weird conundrum of inner, divisional matches. You've got eHome that's playing in China, FTD playing in China. They probably will have scrimmed against each other at some point in time, and there's a different meta that occurs there as opposed to in these international matches on LAN. But Basekip, we're sort of waiting for everybody to get into the lobby right now for this game to get underway since FTD just finish. Yep. There was a short break. I mean, what did you see in that last series? Because we didn't get to watch some of it, but we did get to watch the second game. They picked the Queen of Pain, which you were feeling like is maybe potentially going to be a hero.
I think the Queen of Pain is getting close to being a hero again. It's not quite there just yet, but I'm cautiously optimistic that maybe one more base buff. So let's talk about base damage or base int or int growth, something like that, and then maybe a few little talent buffs. Make some of those talents just a little bit stronger to give Quap sort of that scaling coming out of the laning stage, because she does fine in lane in a lot of matchups, and she's really good late game as well. Once you get that 25 talent, the fear is actually pretty crazy. She's split pushing really hard. It's just sort of that interim mid game where the item build doesn't necessarily seem to do enough. A lot of the time you're forced into buying a Yules, just not very helpful. You sometimes need BKB. And even her go-to items like the Orchid and Aghanim Scepter don't always feel that amazing. So I'm hoping for some more Quap buffs. I don't know if we're going to be seeing it in this next series, but it's a fun hero that I wish would come back a little bit more.
For sure. The Queen of Pain is iconic hero besides Juggernaut, for sure. And she needs a little bit buffs, as you mentioned.
I think Invoker needs some help too at the moment. They gave him some buffs. Quaswex got buffed with they took 3 of the damage away from the Exhort Orbs and moved it over to just his base damage. So now if you play Quaswex without any of the Abed 303 or anything, it's a little bit more potent, but he just doesn't seem to have a place in the meta right now, unfortunately.
Well, let's take a look at these lineups here as we get ready to get underway in this first series as well. And I believe it's Secret that we're going to be taking a look at. A team that I think right now, best team in the world to me. These 5 players have kind of proven it. Obviously, VP looked amazing at the first major, but then you come into the Chongqing major and they kind of owned the entire time. And I'm not sure exactly if it was ever even one particular hero, because that's sometimes what you see is you'll see a team come in and destroy a tournament based off of one play style. And there are some heroes that they would play over and over again. I think about Puppy Tiny, and his Brewmaster at times was making a lot happen, but it's more just that they're so in sync with each other, it feels like.
Yeah, they have a lot of trust in what other players are doing. I think if you could listen to them, the way they're playing, they don't say too much, but They put a lot of trust in each other. Someone says go, it's especially if it's Puppy.
Right.
Like, you gotta follow his call for sure. And I think Puppy puts a lot of trust in Nisha as well. Even though he's young, he allows him to play the heroes that he wants to play. We saw Naga Siren being played in their previous series, and this hero is viable as a carry, I think. And I love the build that Nisha went for. Diffusal, instead of Radiance, Diffusal Blade Manta style, and hard just to tank up all the illusions.
Yeah, it feels like Naga might be, could be the new Phantom Lancer a little bit if it starts to pick up more steam. Or at least we're seeing a little bit of it now. The thing for me about Secret is that no one else really has a good claim to that #1 spot, right?
No.
Based on the last few months, it's Secret all the way. They look like they have kind of the best players in all of their individual roles as well. Zai's been playing amazingly this tournament. Yapzor always just kind of doing his usual Yapzor thing, finding ridiculous amounts of farm from the position 4. They're a really fun team to watch, and I'm hoping that the rest of that sort of tier 1 scene sort of catches up to them a little bit, because it's kind of boring when we've just got one team that's like obliterating everybody.
Well, and we'd be remiss here if we didn't talk about that second team that they're going to be playing against. For the Dream Plane, FTD, they were known for a long time for having the most amazingly creative names for their A, B, and C squad. It was FTD A, B, and C, which now is just FTD.
It is a nightmare trying to find them on Dota or Dota Buff, because you type in FTD or For the Dream, and there are 20 different teams that have existed over the course of Dota 2's history. Under that tag.
The kind of cool thing about them, though, is that this is a team that's traditionally been willing to sort of reach outside of just China and go a little bit more towards Southeast Asia. You had Raji that played for him previously. Right now, Faded is one of the players that comes from Malaysia. So again, it's still Chinese speaking, but it's, you know, these players that are coming with a little bit of maybe that outside influence
Yeah, I thought
as well.
James was fired.
God damn it. Well, and we do have a draft that we can hop into here as well in game #1 of Secret facing off against For the Dream. And they're dreaming big after their win against Forward just a second ago. We'll see if they can continue that success here against Secret. A much different proposition. Secret is a different kettle of
I think they got to do something crazy. If you have, like, you know, I don't know if it's always the case, but I feel like most teams have that one guy that just comes up with wacky ideas, and then everybody else has to kind of shoot him down. I think this is the game where if FTD have that guy, you let him go crazy. You're like, he's telling you what the weird and wonderful strat is to beat Secret, because I don't think they're going to win by playing conventional Dota.
It looks like also in the lobby chat, it was For the Dream opting to take Radiant, and then Secret taking second pick. So it seems like that's a pretty consistent thing here, is that teams are choosing to take Radiant and second pick, and more often than not taking Radiant over having the second pick.
Look at this respect ban. Crystal Maiden first phase ban. Would you believe it?
I mean, didn't you say it was going to happen earlier this tournament?
Yeah, but against a team like a Secret... They play so well.
You agreed with me that Tree was going to be a big thing, but didn't necessarily agree about
This is
Crystal
only
Maiden.
group stage. They're saving strats for later.
Right. No, look, I mean, I also put my hand up to say that I thought Train Protector was going to be a big deal, but I also thought that Crystal Maiden was that was a fairly significant buff. I don't even know if that buff has turned out to be all that significant, but it's at least gotten teams to try out the hero, and maybe they're realizing that, oh, okay, relative to some of the other supports, Crystal Maiden's not so bad. Bounty Hunter getting banned, to me, is very strange, but there you go. Secret don't want to play against it.
We haven't got to see a ton of the games of For the Dream on this stream, so maybe it's something that they ran out earlier. They'll take the Enigma early on here, and a Leshrac afterwards for Zai. So in spite of not having that Crystal Maiden, they're still comfortable running the Lesh. And I guess they could switch it up. I believe that there was one game we saw where they ran mid one with the Lesh as well. So it doesn't have to be in the offlane
When you pick Enigma this early, it most of the time says that it's going to be position for Enigma, but they can still switch things around if they feel like it. From what I saw For the Dream, they prioritize this Grimstroke in the first phase. Whenever they can, they go for a Grimstroke.
I think it's important that FTD have this Elder Titan because Secret are already representing a lot of push. Like, if Secret win these lanes as hard as they've been winning the lanes in some of their games so far this event, then I get the feeling that we could see like tier 2 towers falling before 10 minutes into the game. Enigma plus Lesh is just an obscene amount of push already. And this is only 2 picks into the draft.
Yeah.
The Shadow Shaman's been looking good in general. We saw DJ playing it fantastically on Fnatic. It gives them sort of some reliable lockdown, which is always nice to have, especially when you've got the ET. I quite like this support duo, actually. You know, they've got some objective taking, they got some early game, decent damage. It doesn't really feel like they're lacking for too much with the Shadow Shaman Elder Titan.
Yeah, whenever you have a hero, like both of them have lockdown. I'm not a big fan when teams open up with position 4 and 5, which don't have any kind of a control, and then it opens up a lot of picks for other teams.
Storm,
Ember Spirit,
Ember,
Storm Spirit, anything,
Weaver.
Puck, anything that kind of is afraid.
Even.
Yeah, even Anti-Mage, for sure.
I will say that I think that this ET pick with the Shadow Shaman, while you do have a lot of lockdown, there are probably some things that you could exploit by taking these heroes this early. I guess that, you know, that's the downside, right? So what would be the things that we could exploit with these heroes? They're strong in lane. They are pretty good team fighters as well. They have decent tower push. Is there anything really that you can exploit with it?
They don't have a whole lot of save, and their counter initiation comes in kind of slowly. So if you're Secret and you're looking to like dive a tower, the ET Shadow Shaman, like the ET especially TPing in, doesn't do anything instantly. And not having any save means that you can go on the supports directly, and the other support is not going to bail them out.
Okay.
So that's something that you can look at in this kind of situation to exploit what FTD have going.
Well, I have to disagree there a little bit. I think Elder Titan is one of the best heroes in the game to counter-initiate. You don't necessarily need the TP. Well, depends if
I'm talking about like lane ganks. I agree for team fights that like Echo Stomp is one of the best counter initiation tools in the game.
Well, it does look like it's going to be the Bane taken. So strong laner in their own right, and also a great setup for Leshrac stun. It's the easiest thing in the world. Although we haven't been seeing a ton of Banes take like Nightmare level 1, really. Maybe that'd be changed around here. Razor gets taken when a team, okay, so there's a couple things here. I feel like when you're a team that's coming in as the underdog, you have 2 possibilities. One is you say, screw it, we're just going to play our style of Dota, we believe in our style of Dota, and we're going to take it to them. The other option is we're going to do something really crazy and just hope that we can make a comeback happen with team fight. A Razor is the type of hero that I feel like doesn't give you that comeback mechanic as much. Like, you need to be ahead on it. And I think that the worry is that Team Secret might just outlane you, and then you're kind of stuck with nothing to do throughout the rest of the game.
Not anymore. Razor has a comeback mechanic. He didn't have any flash farming potential before, but you can rely on your passive ability now. Use Plasma, even Eye of the Storm, especially if you're Dire, to farm the triangle with it. He can catch up for sure.
I don't know if relying on comeback is a good idea for FTD in this game. I think if you give Secret a lead, then they have shown in this event that they are very, very good at just holding that lead and pushing it further and further and further. So I think if you're FTD, you have to, and that's kind of the overall strategy for this patch, is you got to try and win those lanes.
Okay.
Just go all in for the lanes, try and get good matchups, and then worry about the mid game once you get to it, I think is the strategy here for FTD.
We will take the Monkey King now for Secret.
Mm-hmm. Lots of team fight. Looking like probably a core Monkey King in this situation.
Whoa.
Oh, picking Tidehunter into Enigma is not the greatest. Like usually when you play against the Tidehunter, you want to have either Enigma, Doom, Disruptor, something
Void.
that he can't get out of. Yeah.
Kraken Shell doesn't help you.
The other thing that's kind of tough about this is they don't have an answer for BKB Black Hole, and that was the first pick.
Yeah. Yeah, they still haven't really responded to that very well.
Well, Secret, meanwhile, seeing this Tidehunter, a hero that we haven't seen a ton of, but was kind of making a bit of a comeback, and I think still is quite good. I mean, they have a lot of team fight themselves now. I would say probably more than Secret.
Yeah, I don't like this Tidehunter pick.
Not a fan?
You're picking Tide into Monkey King in the laning stage. Now that Team Secret can adapt to it and put Monkey against the Tide matchup, maybe even have Lash mid against the Razor. Or they can get a mid hero as their last pick.
Yeah, there isn't anyone that this Tidehunter is completely demolishing in lane. It doesn't feel like. Man, we've had so many carry bans this draft. Look at this. We got the Lifestealer ban, Spectre, Anti-Mage, Troll, Jug. It's been a very carry-heavy...
I think he switched Razor to safe lane then, and you pick something else mid.
Except they don't have the last pick, unfortunately. But you mean just to deal with all these bans?
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
that's one of the things, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
And like that also gives you a potentially better matchup against what you're expecting now to be a Leshrac mid.
Yeah, Shadow Shaman plus Razor's decent dual lane, and then they can have the ET plus Tide.
Maybe go Pugna?
Ooh, yeah, Pugna could actually be pretty good here for FTD. I like it. It's a good suggestion.
It's even more pressure on the towers against Lash and Enigma. It's extremely good. Monkey King as well.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, good call, Gabe.
Well, Secret, how do they deal with this? Because it does feel like that's an answer to what they're anticipating, maybe a Leshrac switching to mid.
Just get Sniper now. Bam.
Sniper? All right.
They really don't have very good ways to get on a sniper this game. I don't know if Secret are going to play
They
it.
might do whatever they want. Monkey
Yeah.
King, Bane. It's Bane 5 right now. All right. They don't have
Ooh,
Crystal Maiden
okay.
this time. But so it's a mid. I think it's a mid Pango. It's going to be Monkey King safe lane and
Zai playing the Lash.
yeah, Zai
again.
Lash.
Okay, so they're going to dodge the lane against the Pugna. They'll get Nisha against Tide still on this Monkey King.
Mirror movement.
we both saw it and realized that we were just standing here with our arms crossed.
I didn't even realize we were back on camera. They don't want to see us.
yeah,
I don't see
there you
it.
go.
Whatever,
Yeah.
it's fine. Cool. A very interesting draft. I'll say that I'm a little bit. I'm feeling a little bit better about For the Dreams draft here than Secrets. Am I crazy? What do you guys think?
I'm still not super convinced about the Tide pick. I think that seems a little bit out of place for them, and it's very, very difficult to bet against Secret. I think the Pangolier I'm also really interested to see
10 to 1.
this game.
GG bets
look,
are
Gabe,
not.
If you think that you
Yeah.
really like FTD's draft, you should
just-
get on your phone right now.
Just
and,
log on to.
Yeah.
I don't think that's.
We gotta
allowed.
be realistic. FTD's draft is good. It's
is
extremely
good, yes.
draft. They have everything that they needed with Pugna as the last pick.
Yeah, they got push, team fight,
If I saw
lockdown,
these two lineups and
objectives.
didn't see which teams are playing it, I would give 65 to FTD's lineup.
I agree. I think that FTD have won the draft here, but I don't think they're going to win the game.
That's the real big question there, isn't it? Well, as we get ready to hop into this game, we're going to say goodbye to Lacoste. We're going to kick off the panel and go feed you to the wolves or something, and we're going to hop into the game now.
It's his turn to go eat chips.
That's right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, so base kip, we're off now into the game. We've got the mid one going on the mid Pango, which is what Scriff did earlier in our pubs, and he went for this same build, I think.
Yeah,
Let's
mid
see.
one's been he's been playing this a little bit, well, actually a decent amount mid recently. It feels like Pangolier is starting to come into his own a little bit more as a hero, which is pretty cool. The new Lucky Shot is a bit inconsistent, but it's so strong. Like a potential 5-second silence can just be so game breaking for so many heroes.
Yeah.
And I feel like people have gotten a whole lot better at using the Rolling Thunder too. Like everyone's sort of getting more consistent with their usage of getting a stun, getting the follow up, and then a lot of people are getting really good at the judging whether or not they should stay in Rolling Thunder. Like
Right.
a lot of people are compromising and being like, okay, I only got one stun. There isn't any good way for me to get a second stun. Let's just ditch the ultimate and come back out and get another swashbuckle or another shield crash off. So I feel like people have gotten a lot better at that decision making.
And that often is the most difficult part about this hero. It's not like doing the fancy moves in. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of damage onto ET. And he's going to get caught. The stun just hit up blind. Zai gets it. And Puppey secures the kill.
Yeah, and they've gotten 3 of the 4 bounty runes. So Secret already have a 1K net worth lead. As James picks up the bounty, it is going to be slightly less than 1K, but
yeah.
That's a nasty start.
So what I was going to say, though, about the Pangolier is that oftentimes it feels like it's much more the decision-making that you're making that's the tough thing, like you're saying, as opposed to actually mechanically moving your hero. That's not the tough part, at least for these pro players.
Yeah, he's an extremely unique hero in terms of like thinking about, in terms of landing a swashbuckle on an individual hero. There are so many different places that you could end up positioning yourself, and thinking that one step ahead of like, okay, I'm going to cast swashbuckle, but where do I actually want to end up?
Oh my God,
is
Zai.
a big deal.
He is tempting fate here. James trying to juke it out, and in the meantime, you can just keep on punching him for this Tide Hunter. Does he decide to go back? I mean, he's taken the Gush level 1, so wants to get in there and battle it out.
I think that the way that FTD have set up these lanes is a little bit weird. I don't necessarily know if I like the Shadow Shaman being with the Tide all that much, because I feel like they've really crippled their bottom lane a little bit. I don't think the Razor plus Elder Titan's going to do that much.
But they do find the kill on the Puppey.
All right.
I mean, I guess that the one thing that's nice about this is they tried to dodge it out so that way they didn't get the Tide against the Monkey King matchup. That feels like the most important thing, right?
That's true. But I don't think there's anything stopping them from like swapping the supports around here.
Totally. Well, we'll see what they end up going for. Is Tide able to get the walk away? Do they find the kill? Yes. Zai picks that one up, and now also a Nightmare. The follow-up stun is going to be there for Zai. Easy as pie. And James is dead.
It does feel like they're just hedging a little bit, having ranged plus melee and ranged plus melee in each lane, instead of having the double melee lane here, which, if they weren't getting kills with ET getting like big stacks for the Astral Spirit, would definitely get out farmed.
Yeah. Faded. Take that stun onto him, and a good amount of damage from Yapzor, who should probably be farming over the next little bit on side creeps whenever possible. And can just keep on denying and then head back to the jungle if he wants to. We'll see how Nisha can do when he's kind of been left a little bit alone, it feels like, down here for the next few minutes.
He's getting a lot of denies, and with the constant denies as well from the Enigma. Oh, more action.
This is a problem. Level 2, that Nightmare comes out, and James, by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, I think he had like 12 or 13 hit points left there, but fortunately, Zai only has the 1 crown so far, no double crown just yet, so didn't have the damage to finish him off. Mid lane, Pango's doing just fine. He's actually a little bit ahead of the Pugna since he's got 3 CS. He's going in!
Oh my goodness, almost getting it. They have the decrep, the body blocks coming from the slowed down mid one, and we'll be able to walk out of there. Oh, this mid lane, very contentious. No regen from Pugna, though, and the Courier is going to be brought out now. He's going to have that full bottle, though, so that's going to be a nice little win for him.
This is a pretty big turning point in this lane, whether or not he gets the 4-minute rune. I think it would be worth it for one of his supports to try and contest the rune on their side of the map.
They do have a ward up on the high ground, at least, so they'll be able to scout out where this rune does spawn.
Yeah, but both mid heroes have an empty bottle, so this is a pretty big deal.
Already out with the Diabolic Edict, and Kraken Shell wouldn't really do anything here if he had it skilled up anyways, but mid one finds the regen rune bottled, and that is a game changer. Like you were saying, Pace Kip is a problem if he doesn't get it.
Yeah, Pugna's at least got decent HP, but he would have loved to have all of that additional mana for the Nether Blast.
Oh my goodness, Tide just goes down. They find the stun also onto James, so this top lane is kind of devolved into a disaster for the Dream.
Puppey? Okay.
And Puppey will go down by virtue of James, the Tide Hunter.
Yeah, he just suicided to the tower.
Okay.
But they did some damage to him, so they still got kill credit.
Okay.
Yeah, so not as good as like completely resetting the timer and then killing yourself to the tier 2 or something, but still decent. Oh, Zai.
Battle for the bounty rune. Zai looking for the stun. He's able to force away the Tidehunter. And in fact, if he's able to get this kill right here, pops the very far the walk away, gets the kill and away on nothing. Bottle up
Zai.
afterwards.
Playing with the stick charges, playing with the stun, getting the most out of his bottle sips. That was some fantastic play from Zai. He's been looking so good on this tournament, and they just keep giving it to him time and time again. Secret are picking it first phase over and over.
I mean, they banned out the Crystal Maiden because I think everybody was thinking, all right, this is what allows this hero to work. But no, you don't need the CM. You can just do it naturally. In mid 1, level 6 here, if you're not careful on this Pugna, he might just decide to jump on you. The big loser, I would say, as far as CS goes for Secret is going to be Nisha in this game, who's kind of been left to the wolves, 13 and 11 on this Monkey King. Not where he normally sits for this Secret team that tends to prioritize his farm. But I think the other lanes are going well enough that it's not the biggest deal in the world.
I think he's going to end up with a lot of room to catch up, because if you just look at the heroes that mid 1 and Zai are playing, they can be so active and make so many plays. They don't have long cooldowns that they need to wait for. They should just be able to run around the map finding kill after kill after kill.
Nightmare, the full roundabout comes in, and mid 1 gonna do a circle, walks back forward, catches another couple of them, the third time lucky, making it happen, and now the jump away. So Secret force a bunch of heroes mid, and now gonna jump back in mid 1. Look at the damage on all these guys. James just trying to run away, and they will be able to force him back. Now the Tidehunter making the long rotation in, and mid 1 maybe has gone a bit too far, trying to live through it, but one more punch from the Pugna finds that kill. And FTD able to turn this back around, and they're moving in pretty deep now, trying to take another kill here on a Puppy. The buyback coming from mid 1. He wants to get back in towards this, misses on the swashbuckle, doesn't even have that much damage out from the shield crash, so a little bit of a miscalculation there.
Yeah, it looked amazing while he was in the Rolling Thunder, and then just didn't quite have enough damage to close it all out, unfortunately. So FTD, pretty big win. Do get a really nice turnaround, get some more farm going for this Pugna, almost has his Arcanes. And they are just going to keep the gank train going as they run over to top looking for Zai.
Oh no, this is not where he wants to be at all. Puppy is going to get hexed as well. They find themselves another kill, and for the Dream, they will almost lose this Tidehunter Puppy, wanting to get that kill, but can't quite get it. The stick charge keeps him alive. So for the Dream are kind of doing it.
Yeah, they're keeping things close against Secret. Against other teams, we've seen Secret at this sort of game time be super far ahead. Oh, mid 1.
He's stuck. The Secret shot. No, that's not where you want to be. I think he's still out of there.
He's okay.
Fine.
He's okay. But that was very awkward for poor mid 1.
You can't imagine that he's happy about those series of events. Like, it's not by any means the end of the world, but the buyback and then into that failed gank.
He's almost 1,000 net worth behind the Pugna now. He was keeping things really even up until the death and then the buyback, and it's really slowed him down. Like, if he has that, if he's equal to the Pugna on gold, then he's definitely got this Javelin by now, but yeah, struggling a little bit.
The other sort of thing that we haven't talked about that much this game has been Yapsor, who's just been sort of farming away and getting towards that Midas on the Enigma. This is one of those heroes that it was classically built on him before as well, so I think it's still pretty decent getting those levels up and, of course, eventually into a BKB. There isn't an answer for him this game.
Yeah, this looks like a kind of game where they're just... They can play for the late game Enigma. I think it's one of those situations where if Enigma does get his Blink BKB refresher set up, then there's just really nothing that FTD can do at that point, unless they fight around Vision and manage to Blink Hex him with the Shadow Shaman or something. But the Enigma can be the carry in this game when it really comes down to it.
I mean, don't look now, but even though Secret are kind of a little bit ahead at this point in terms of net worth.
Puppy's getting dove.
Yeah, Puppy does look like he will likely go down. They're able to trade over the aggro to keep the ET alive. But with the double Midases being built, and also just having heroes that inherently don't deal, I think, particularly well with push, could become a problem as this game goes on, and Zai gonna disco pony his way into it. Mid 1 also chasing down to try and find that kill onto the Pugna. It's a hasted Leshrac who's walking away for the moment, but can they find themselves the secondary kills? Pugna's already gone down. They take down the ET. Gush, not enough. Disco Pona dancing, and Well, it looks like the Tidehunter is eventually going to get caught. Not enough mana to Ravage right now, but we'll have stick charges afterwards when he comes out of this one. Does he decide to throw it out? No, he's just going to let himself die.
Such perfect ulti usage from mid one there. Like the chain stun on the Pugno was perfect. He bounced off the wall at just the right place, and they completely eliminated Pugno before he could do anything. That's a very... that was such a team secret move. And it didn't even have Yapzor there. Yapzor was just farming on the other side of the map. And now he's going to chill out and grab these bounty runes.
That's actually insane. It's suddenly a 5,000 gold lead with the 4 bounty runes. Like that's such a huge moment for Secret.
Yeah, they win a huge fight. They take the bounties, and all of a sudden they're completely in control.
That's not how that's supposed to go. The disarm just gets completely destroyed, and mid one jumps into this one as well. They do have Ravage, but it might be a little bit too scary to do it. But he missed on the mischief dodge.
I think even if he'd gotten it, still would have been a tough spot. But this is a Pugna 10 minutes in, hasn't taken a tier 1 tower just yet. So he could have been doing a good job of fighting them off. They actually have a pretty significant advantage in terms of map control.
Yeah.
YRG doing his best.
Oh, mid one, still rolling through and doesn't quite get the angle as he goes down the steps. I mean, and this is the thing, like if that fight top doesn't happen, if they trade off even in the bounty runes, then you have a situation where For the Dream can maybe punish all these Midases, but now it feels like Secret are kind of rolling.
Yeah, they've got so much space to work with, I think is the biggest thing. And you were talking about the Monkey King being a little bit behind, but the Razor is also struggling. So I don't think it really matters that much for Secret that Nisha now has time to catch up. And like I was saying before, mid one and Zai are just going to make all the space, and Nisha can take whatever farm he wants on the map. There's plenty to go around.
Got that first big item as well for the Pango and just the Javelin. So, faded. Razor in some trouble. Zai is chasing here as well. There's a lot of magical damage, although it looks like Razor is going to be able to retreat down to the south, while mid lane they're still pushing for that tier 1 tower. And it looks like he should get out. They've also got the ward trap on a Puppy. He's in trouble and gonna die. Mid one jumps in, finds the kill, and ward traps himself mid one. That's not where you're supposed to be, but he does have the Rolling Thunder, but isn't gonna be able to get out of there. A double kill for the Pugna. And you played yourself.
Not worth. That Elder Titan kill is certainly not worth his life. Oh, man.
And that's back down again. The net worth lead slowed up.
It's a topsy-turvy game for sure.
Uh-oh. Razor looks like he is going to get caught here, though.
Well, he avoided them the first time, but this time around the walkaway is not going to work. Zai with that Rod of Atos. Exact same build that we've been seeing from him pretty much every single game. I think the Rod of Atos has been better in some of the other games that we've seen, where there's been anti-mages, embers, etc., where the root completely destroys them, but still very nice setup and some really nice stats for the Lesh.
Nisha realizes that there was potentially a gank coming that direction and will get out of dodge. Bottom lane is being pushed in by the Enigma. It looks like, though, they're going to wrap around and find James. Will get caught by the stun, but the walk forward, the stomp is there. They have the Ravage available if they want to use it. Nisha coming in from the high ground as well. They drop out the Ravage, going to connect onto 4, but there is no follow-up at all here. And it looks like Secret are coming to play, seeing if they can find themselves another pickoff. Already the Tide is dead, and it looks like they're going to use the Fiend's Grip, and Yapzor cleaning it up as well.
A little bit sloppy, I think, from FTD. They showed the Razor at bottom, and as soon as Secret saw that, they knew that they could take a 4v5 at top. Yapzor willingly TPing over to top lane, and Secret just using the superior numbers to win that fight. I can understand what FTD were doing. They really want to make use of the Ravage because they picked this Tidehunter, and you've got Ravage sitting on cooldown. You're telling yourself, we have to do something. I can't just sit here and farm the entire time. But in terms of the numbers, they just get crushed. And Razor's now decided that he wants to go for a Midas, though this is going to be an obscenely late Midas, and I just don't think it fits their timing at all. I would much prefer Razor to just be buying like straight BKB this game.
And just run in and try and
do something. He's getting caught out by Zai, might get solo kill. Gonna try for the TP out. I think he's still dead. Yeah,
they got him caught. Yeah, it's tough. This is that situation in the game where things are starting to really fall off the rails. I think that I saw that Nahaz was tweeting out earlier that there's been some ridiculous amount of percentage of the Midases that have been made after the 14-minute mark.
Yeah.
And this is going to be another one of them. And it feels like that sort of catch-up Midas just doesn't really happen. That's not a thing. As it looks like the ET is also going to die over the battle for the bounty runes. So 3 for 1. FTD only getting that top one by their offlane tier 1 where it used to be.
This top tier 1 still standing has actually crippled FTD's entire game. Like, Secret taking the safe lane tier 1 from FTD, they have gotten so much out of the Radiant jungle. They've been farming that for like 8 minutes at this point. They've secured multiple bounty runes down there. And normally what you would talk about is that the one team gets the foothold on one side while the other team manages to grab it on the other team's side of the map. It just didn't happen at all. Secret's so good at defending their buildings this game.
Stomp connects on the mid one, but they've got the ET in their sights. Using that farm advantage to continue to secure them towers.
They do have Ravage soon. Back off cooldown in 5 seconds, but...
I mean, they've got like this Vlad's on, you know, the tide, but they really don't have an answer for all of this magical damage that's coming out from the Leshrac, and they're just going to walk forward here. Zai, in spite of the Pugna ward, he doesn't care. Killing them all off. And now the roll forward, coming on to Faded, have the Wukong's command down, and this should be a dead Razor in just a second. Although the walkaway, no, the decrypt keeps him alive, and actually with the ward trap onto Zai, they might be able to find this kill. Can they bring him off though? The Wukong's command just slowly beating themselves down. They want to kill Zai so desperately, but it is not happening. He ends up dying instead to the Pugna ward, I think there. Maybe it was just the Nether Blast as they walk away, but Nisha turns, throws out the jump, and it looks like with 3 dead, Secret ready to continue to assert dominance over for the Dream, who just don't have an answer.
The team play from Secret is disgusting. Like, Zai is not necessarily out of position, but he's trying to push forward into the Wukong's command and gets locked down by the Shadow Shaman. So Secret, immediately they nightmare him so that he can't take any more damage from the Master wards, and then everybody runs over to kill the ward so that he can walk out. And then because of that, the Lesh is able to run away. They drag FTD a little bit further into the fight, and that little bit of team play secures them like an additional 2 or 3 kills because FTD just get dragged so far away from their tower. Mid one even missed the swashbuckle completely on the Pugna, but didn't matter. They still had more than enough damage to close things out. And now they have the top 4 net worth in the game. You know, Puppy's in his rightful place. Down towards the bottom, but everybody else is just owning.
I think they call this the victory formation. That's what it looks like, as Nisha is going to be the one that jumps. That is another dead Elder Titan. My goodness. 11 to 27. And everywhere you look, it's this hero, you know, the Leshrac that normally is thought of as a bit of a squishy hero, but with all of these stat items, you got the Bracer, you got the Wand, you've got the Rod of Atos with the double crowns in it. Like, he's just not that easy to kill. And the 5 armor talent, of course. Thanks, Griff. What a guy.
Yeah, the talents are super nice, and hasn't even gotten level 15 just yet for the plus 15 strength. Secret really making the Lesh look good. I don't know if other teams would necessarily be able to replicate this success, but it's continuing to work fantastically for Secret. It's nice because Secret don't necessarily always take supports that give them, like, a lot of teams rely on picking something like Shadow Shaman to give them a lot of push, right? But picking the Lesh for your position 3 kind of opens up a lot of options, because that means that your other cores don't necessarily need to do a ton of building damage, and your supports don't need to do that necessarily either. You've got a nice mix of push, wave clear, and some lockdown, which means that you open up your support options a little bit more because you don't feel like you have these holes that you have to fill in your draft.
Oh, and they just punish it so much. I mean, this Razor's just going to get gripped, and there isn't a way to stop it. I mean, and again, every death from this point forward is going to look so bad for the Dream, but I think we should keep in mind how close it was looking in the laning stage. It did feel like there was an opening for him here.
Yeah, they kept the early game close, and like Lacoste and I were saying, we like the draft in this situation. I think that their draft is solid, but Secret just kind of outplay you.
Oh, God, and the lift up with the Yule Scepter trying to walk away. They will find the kill on the Leshrac. Now James going to be rolled on, though, as the Black Hole solo for the Pugna. Nisha godlike, Secret godlike. This game is looking dang near over.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know what FTD can really do to put together a fight. Their damage isn't necessarily scaling. Like, even if they drop all of their nukes on one person and manage to land like a good Earth Splitter, I think at most they kill 1, maybe 2 heroes on Secret, and then Secret just run them over with their with all of their damage. Monkey King, slow start, but #1 on the net worth now. More than enough space created by Secret for Nisha to get right back into the game. And he's now, what, 10-1-6?
Right.
So yeah, it doesn't matter that he had a slow start at all. Just finding tons of kills with his team.
I mean, that last black hole right there is probably like the most that the Yapzor has had to contribute in these fights because they just haven't needed him. So if you think about him actually showing up.
He's the insurance policy
right.
in this game.
Nothing more needed. So they'll find themselves another kill here. Chase away mid one in a little bit of trouble. They have the Earth Splitter connected onto 3, not bad, but now with that spell immunity, it's a little bit harder to make this fight happen. The walk forward coming from the Tidehunter, they're keeping him under control, and now also the Pugna staying alive in this duration, but now he's going to be gripped afterwards. The Wukong's command finds the kill, and Tidehunter well and truly going to die as well. Triple kill for Nisha, and Secret doing the walk down mid.
That was back-to-back 5-0 team fights in like the exact same place.
Yeah.
On the map. FTD doing their best, but just Secret has too many items at this point. They're too tanky, too many levels, and now easily able to head up onto the high ground. I mean, that was even a fight without a black hole, but it doesn't really matter.
And moving to take down this tier 3 tower, Secret looking like, again, the best team in the world at this point as they take down the melee barracks. And for the Dream, possibly one last hurrah. All of the outer tier 2 towers are taken. Looks like Secret are going to play it safe and maybe head back for Roche.
Yeah. Secret just punishes you so hard for all of your little mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, I think FTD made a couple of little positioning errors at top, and all of a sudden that lane was like 5-0 in terms of kills.
Right.
Puppy picking up double kills, and the Secret take that like 1 level or even half a level advantage that they gained, and just they completely ran with it.
All right, another ward trap here. Puppy waiting to do the nightmare thing. Catches Zeiss though, and still able to find the kill. But out of the cores at this point, he's actually the lowest net worth. He was dominating early, but it was all to the tune of making space for his other cores.
Yeah, this is like the Ice bounty hunter,
right?
Transitioning out of relevance. He did his job in the early game, and now making way for everybody else to do what they need to do. And Secret, they can just wait for spells. I don't think they can. Like I said earlier, I just don't think that they can lose a fight with BKB Blink Black Hole, unless the Rasta gets a blink and they somehow like kill Yapzor first.
Right.
I don't see any way for them to lose a fight, because Yapzor can just stand a million miles away, preemptively pop the BKB, and then he only has to hold 1 or 2 heroes for them to win the fight.
Well, one thing that is nice is you have this Tidehunter with Blink Ravage now, and it looks like they're going to try and go for a smoke-up play and head into the jungle, and Yapzor is the one that's out front and center. If they initiate, though, on a mid one and Nisha, this could look really badly. Yapzor jumps in, Black Hole catches on to 3 on the backlines, but immediately it's actually going to be taken out of there. So the chase forward, Nisha, might be going to be able to turn this back around, but Puppy is just gripping that Razor inside the Wukong's command. And even though it looked for a moment like maybe FTD could do something, in the end, it's all going to be Secret as they chase forward for more. Triple kill for Nisha, and GG is called.
Yeah. Nice try. I will say, good discipline from Secret that even when they're this far ahead, just play together as 5. Don't give FTD any silly opportunities to get 2 or 3 kills and drag the game out. They just close the door on it. It's very much the expected result.
Yeah, I would agree. 42-14. I think that probably the biggest standout thing to me was it didn't look like it was a complete stomp in the lanes, at least.
Yes. Though some of that is because they picked position for Enigma.
Yeah.
So the bottom lane was never supposed to win. It was just supposed to be a bunch of experience for Nisha and the Enigma just kind of jungling. So I think that's part of it. But still got to give some props to FTD. This is a team that's not going to minors or anything. They're pretty far down on the totem pole for Chinese Dota, but the Chinese Dota goes pretty deep, as it turns out.
Yeah, for the Dream did way better than I expected them really looks like the best team in the world right now. The way they're drafting, their team play, it's just insane. Spell casting, everything's on point. They're not making mistakes, and they're not forgiving about the mistakes that you did. They did a good laning stage, FTD, but after that, it's just chaos. They can't come back into the game like this. Also, I think getting a Midas to try to come back into the game is really not worth it.
No, I didn't like the Razor's build, really. He fell behind a little bit and then just kind of ditched his team. Like the standout moment for me is when Yapzor's constantly pushing bottom, and then the Razor comes over to try and defend while his team is pushing top, because they really, really wanted that tier 1 tower. And then Secret, as soon as they see that the Razor has come bottom, they
just bring Enigma up there.
They're just like, they just bring all 5 to top and take a super easy team fight, even with the Ravage getting popped.
Yeah.
So,
most of the time, they don't sacrifice Nisha's farm, but they gave Yapzor so much farm because he was mostly in the jungle.
Yeah.
And he comes back from the jungle, they take the tower, this whole area opens up for Team Secret. They just farm there, they secure the bounty runes, and suddenly the game is over. I mean, when you see someone who has more than 5 earned charges, and at one point Puppy had 11, you know the game's not going great for you.
That's true.
that's the metric.
You can't use them quickly enough. You just gotta. You just keep dying.
Can't hold all these earned charges.
And I think that it says something about the state of this tournament. Also, when a team gets beaten like 42-14, and we're like, well, FTD did pretty good though. You know what I mean? Like that's a little bit crazy. That's how
true.
of a huge imbalance Secret is relative to what we've kind of seen. And it's not that the other teams aren't good. I think that Gambit showed a lot in the earlier series, and I'm excited to watch more of their games. And right now, they're playing against Mineski, which is the main team that For the Dream is probably going to be in competition with to try and get out of those bottom 2 slots. So we'll have to wait and see what the results of that one are. But real quickly, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a break. Before we come back, it's going to be game number 2 just around the corner, For the Dream versus Secret. See you guys then.